Hello there, my friend, and welcome to another episode of Disney Travel Secrets. Rob and Kerri Stuart here, coming to you from the Creating Magic Vacation Studios right around the corner from Walt Disney World in beautiful Windermere, Florida. This is episode number 376. Original air date April 29th, 2024.
And this week we are sharing our 5 favorite rides. We had so much fun with the dining restaurants last week that we're doing the same thing, but with our favorite rides.
And we know for sure that some of those will overlap because they are the ones that we talk the most about and usually the ones we try to get onto when we have the chance.
Also, there is a new bus service from Orlando International Airport, otherwise known as MCO, to Disney World. And let's just say it is pennies on the dollar. But is it worth it?
We will find out. And of course, after we talked about our favorite restaurants on last week's show, a Disney restaurant got a Michelin Star. Every time a bell rings, a restaurant gets a Michelin Star. And I bet you can guess which one it is. And no, we have not been there.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
That is correct.
Yes, and a much-awaited opening date for one of the parks. Which one is it?
Stay tuned.
Hello, my friends. This is former Disney Imagineer Hugh Darley, and you're listening to Disney Travel Secrets with my friends Rob and Kerri Stuart. As you can imagine, I have plenty of Disney secrets myself, and I can't wait to share them with you. Let's get this show on the road. Take it away, guys.
Welcome back, my friend. And today on this air date, we are on the Ama Lira, part of the Ama Waterways fleet, and we are on the Seine River, headed to Rouen, France. I think I'm pronouncing that right. I have no idea.
I know.
It's Rouen. We're going with Rouen, not Ruin.
Yeah, and this is a really historical town. It's kind of known as Museum City, so super excited to experience that. And just like last month, we are in the process of batching some of the episodes because we are traveling.
And don't forget to subscribe to our show on YouTube. For those of you listening, if you're not watching yet, I'm wearing my old school Walt Disney Studios shirt with Mickey Mouse on it. And we have had a lot of fun doing these shows on YouTube as well, so we hope you enjoy them.
So we have a couple of things that came in the news this past week, and they may be old news by now by the time you hear this.
Because we are batching these shows.
It was so funny because last week we were talking about the one Michelin 1-star that was on Disney World property, and that is over at the Four Seasons. So it's technically not a Disney resort or in the parks, but they just released the Michelin Star new announcement for restaurants and the updated list. And guess what?
I know.
And what are we guessing?
Victoria and Albert's.
Yeah. So
I thought Victoria and Albert's already had it. And to be direct, I didn't even know the name of the restaurant at Four Seasons until we started doing some research.
Yeah, I had heard of it. I had never really thought to go there. That's all. So
a huge congratulations to Victoria and Albert's and their entire staff.
Yeah, so let's just hope that doesn't increase the pricing even more. We were having appetizers and cocktails with our neighbors a couple weeks ago, and they were saying that they had been at Victoria and Albert several years ago, and they were telling us how much they paid, and I'm like, yeah, that price is not even close to what you get right now.
That would feed us. That price would feed us for a month.
We'll have to check and see if they do raise pricing based on that new Michelin Star. It was just a 1-star, wasn't it?
It is, yeah. It is
okay.
1-star.
So we're not quite up to 3.
I don't know who gets a 3-star, but that's got to be a pretty nice restaurant.
Yeah.
So right before, literally 10 minutes before we started recording the show, I saw that there is an opening date, and we kind of teased that in the opening date for Communicore Hall and Plaza, and it is June 10th. Finally. There's been so much construction going on over at Epcot. For years, they've had these walls up, and so those will all be coming down soon. I know we are looking forward to it.
Yeah, so that's a big update for park news. And so if you are coming this summer, something for you to experience that will be new. So we are definitely looking forward to that. I wonder if they'll do any kind of previews like they did for the Journey of Water.
I hope they do. I think they probably will.
I don't know. It kind of makes sense, but we will keep you posted if they do announce anything because it's always kind of fun to be one of the first people to experience it. But this next thing that just started on April 21st, I don't think this is something that I would recommend everybody experience, but some of our listeners may be interested to know about this new thing that is here in Orlando.
And the weird thing is they're talking about it all over the news a couple weeks ago. So again, April 21st, Lynx bus service started from Orlando Airport to Disney Springs. And I know Kerri said something earlier that it's pennies on the dollar. It really is. It's only $2 per person. But the question is, should you use it?
Yeah, I know. It's totally cheap. But if you've listened to us for a while, or even if you're new, you will get to know this about us. When it comes to your Disney vacation, time is money. So this again is new, and they had one, I guess they had one of their reporters or somebody went and they did it because it's not like it's a nonstop. It does have a couple of little stops along the way. This is more like a city bus. So imagine hauling all your luggage on a city bus. And the trip, which normally takes about 25 to 30 minutes if you are going direct, or even if you're using Mears Connect, you may have to wait a little bit for a bus. But with Lynx right now, it is taking 2 hours. And then remember this, once you arrive at Disney Springs, so they're going to drop you off there's a bus station over there. So you still have to get to your resort.
And you still have to take your luggage off of said Lynx bus and put it on a Disney bus. So again, what normally would take 25 or 30 minutes, I think if you're from out of town and you're watching this newscast, maybe you're at your Disney resort and like, oh, wow, I could have taken a bus for $2. They're making it seem like it's a lot faster, but it's going to be a good 2.5+ hours if you take Lynx until you finally get to your hotel.
Yeah, and one of the things that we hear a lot are for people, they're on a budget, so they're staying at one of the Disney Springs resorts, which I totally get it. If you have a large family, you may want one of those 2 bedrooms at one of the resorts that's over there. And so it may sound enticing because you're getting dropped off at Disney Springs. However, imagine it being super hot like it's starting to get here in Orlando.
It is getting very hot.
And you need to haul your children and your luggage. And guess what? Some of those resorts are not as close as you think. I had a client say, oh, well, I was talking to somebody and they said it's only like a 10-minute walk. And I said, it really is about 20. And then you have the heat. And then that's once you get to Disney Springs. And then you still need to get all the way over to the buses, which is going to be another 10 minutes. So everything in Orlando, just remember, is 30 minutes from Orlando.
Yes.
And that includes Disney Springs walking from this bus stop.
It really is. And so we recommend our clients, if you're going to do that, if you're not going to do a private, kind of a private transfer, like with a private, a limo, whatever you want to get, just use Uber or Lyft. I mean, every time we go to the airport, and as Kerri mentioned, it's MCO. It's because it used to be McCoy Air Force Base. So there's a little trivia for you. We always use Uber or Lyft, and what we'll do is about an hour or so before we're going to leave, we will check and see which one is cheaper, and whichever one's cheaper is the one we take.
Yeah, and one of our pro tips is Lyft typically has been cheaper. Now, sometimes they're not as reliable, but if you can use in advance of your trip, like refer a friend, both Uber and Lyft have referral programs. And so you can get some discounts. So by the time you come down for your Orlando vacation, then you can get some discounted rides. And so that's just something that we always try to recommend. And if you've never used Lyft, we will put our referral code in the show description. So hop on over and then you can help us get to and from the airport for our trips.
We would really appreciate that.
That would be fantastic.
But we use rideshare. We do it a lot because we have a membership with Florida Citrus Sports, and that's where they do the Cheez-It Bowl and the other bowl, the name escapes me now. They're both Cheez-It Bowls now.
Yeah.
But it's also where they have all the concerts. We have, part of our package, we have seats and everything there. And I do not remember, it's probably been close to 2 years since we even drove to Camping World Stadium anymore. We always will take rideshare, a number of reasons.
Yeah, speaking of which, there's some really cool concerts coming up.
I know you're excited
at Camping World Stadium.
You're excited for Pink.
I'm excited for Pink. She's coming in November. But you could plan a Disney trip, and then on that night you head over to Camping World Stadium.
That is, that's a great idea. It's not even in the show notes, but check your dates you're going to be coming to Disney World and see if there's any concerts going on, whether it's Camping World Stadium or the Kia Center where the Orlando Magic play. See if there's anything like that in town, because those are always, a good timing if you can see an artist that you want to see.
Yeah, but one of the things that we know you are probably most excited about when it comes to your Disney World vacation are the attractions and the rides.
The food.
Well, the food I always get excited about, but I think if you're coming down with kids, with teenagers, or maybe it's just like an adults only trip. And I was talking to one of our agents, and she's down here right now for an adults only trip. So happy birthday, Julie. And she was saying how excited her and her husband were to be there without they have three 3 young kids, toddlers.
3 youngins.
And she said, we are going to ride some of the rides we have not been able to do because the kids, and they don't, they're like, we don't want to waste time doing rideshare. And so sometimes when you come down for your trip, we know that you're really excited about the rides, but it's, how do you know which ones are the best rides? And it's kind of like food. It all depends on the experience.
Since we're locals, we don't have to get on that certain ride that for people that are traveling down here, they say, no, we have to do this ride. For us, if the line's short, we'll do it. If not, we know we can always come back. But what are our favorite rides? And I know these are going to overlap, but we're going to share our top 5 favorite rides. And I may have done an honorable mention.
You got to stop doing that. But no, we had so much fun last week kind of doing like a little surprise reveal. And the way that we're ranking these are the rides that we look forward to going and experiencing, even though we go to the parks every single week. And, even last week, a week ago from when we recorded this, I had the day before said, you know what, we have not been on this ride for a really long time. I just want to go and we'll pay for it and we will go and enjoy it.
And it was down.
Yeah, you can imagine. But there are so many. This was hard to break it down into the 5. And the way I chose mine was based on these are the ones that if I were to only do one ride at a park, if we're visiting, this is the one that I would do.
Okay, spoiler alert, I don't think either one of us put It's a Small World.
I did not.
Okay, so
I love that, but nope, that's not the one I'm going to do. But I didn't break it down by parks. I really just did it by, if I want to go to Disney, what are the rides I would look most forward to?
Should we just start?
Let's go ahead and start. Okay, I went first last time,
okay.
So you go first this time.
Okay. I am doing the dramatic tear-off sheet. And at number 5, Slinky Dog Dash.
Slinky Dog. And why is that your number 5?
I like
it. Is it the frolicking?
I like frolicking over the hills in Andy's backyard on the back of a dog. It's really, we had not done, up until a couple of weeks ago, we had not done that ride in so long.
Yeah, the line is always really long for that one.
Let's do it. And again, it was thanks to a couple cast members who gave us a lightning lane. The only thing I can say bad about Slinky Dog is it is way too short.
It is pretty short.
But it is longer than Seven Dwarfs. So there you go.
But my pro tip for that ride, if that's on your must-do, is to make sure if you're doing Genie Plus, that is your first selection at Hollywood Studios.
That'll go fast.
It goes really fast, and do it before you purchase an individual lightning lane for that day if you're choosing to do that.
Yes.
Okay. Number 5 on mine. I think this may surprise you. It's okay. You can look. You're eventually going to see it. Okay. And this is one I truly enjoy going on, and that is Living with the Land over at Epcot.
I did not think that was going to make the list.
I always love this ride. And you know what I think makes it even more fun to go on is because we did the behind the scenes tour.
And this particular ride has been all over TV just a couple weeks ago because of how the cast members at Disney recycled the glass. And that's what they use in Living with the Land in that area where they're growing, all the fruits and vegetables. They use this recycled glass, which I thought was pretty cool.
Which is pretty cool. And I just think it's fascinating to learn about the power of growing and how like the bugs, the insects, how everything kind of works together. That is a really fun tour. And that's one that I would recommend if you've never done a tour, but you enjoy maybe gardening or one of the fun trivia things was learning how some of the vegetables that are grown there and some of the food is served in the restaurants. And so that's kind of fun to say, oh, they grew this over in Living with the Land. So I like that one for that reason.
And it's inspiring us to put a garden in our backyard.
It is. I don't think it's going to be as fancy as that one.
Definitely not. Yeah. And we're not going to be using crushed glass as,
we are
as
not.
the base. So.
Okay, so what's your number 4?
Number 4. Always a crowd pleaser. And that is the safari over at Animal Kingdom. And our top tip is do that, rope drop that, even though it technically doesn't open until a little bit after rope drop. But that's when, early in the morning, or when the animals are out, they're all, they woke up from a sound sleep and they're eating all over the savannah.
Well, the food's freshly out.
It
so
is.
There's that.
They put that out in the morning. And also, a little trivia about that ride. That ride alone is bigger than Animal Kingdom. Bigger than Magic Kingdom, the entire park. So just that ride.
Just that ride. And if you ever watch any of the safari shows on the like Nat Geo or whatever, it's very similar.
It is.
Okay, number 4 on my list is also safari.
Yes. That was weird. We both put that at number 4.
Yeah. So one of my pro tips here is if you love this ride, then you should 100% do the Wild Trek It's
Wild
like
Africa
it's
Trek?
the Wild Africa Trek. Now this is a paid tour, but you get to go a little more in depth. And then the other one is the Sunset Safari,
Yes.
and
There's
you pay for
there's-
these tours.
There's also Savor the Savannah. I can't remember
And
which one those are.
Savor the Savannah. I don't. Yeah, that one I think's the Sunset Savor the Savannah.
Yeah.
But both are great experiences, and you get to be a little more up close and personal with the animals, which is kind of nice. And then they also have a couple of different tours over there that some of the younger kids can go on. We still haven't done the up close with rhinos, but we
have
did
not.
do the
Caring
elephant,
Caring for
Caring
Giants.
for
We did
Giants.
that.
Yeah, and you do learn a lot. So if you love the safari, you want to plus up your next vacation, consider some of those tours. You can book them 60 days out. Yeah, I love the safari.
I do too.
Okay.
It's always really good to do it either early morning or at dusk.
Yep. All right, number 3.
Flight of Passage.
Ooh, good one.
Now, I will tell you that when this came out, this was probably number 1 for a couple of years, but now it's number 3.
Okay. We love
At least
Flight of
according to me. Yeah.
Passage. Yeah.
That is
Totally worth buying the individual lightning lane.
absolutely, but at least once go through the regular queue because they have so much, just like some of the other rides, they have some really cool stuff, a lot of detail.
Yeah, and that is really a good tip, though. And so if you are going to do that, either do the rope drop or do it very, very late at night when everybody is leaving. So, okay, my number 3 is Rise of the Resistance.
Number 3.
That's number 3. Now,
Interesting.
this is the one that I was like, we had not been on that forever. And so we were going to purchase it. But anyway, long story, we did end up going on it. And what I love most about this particular ride is there are different scenes. And so it's not like you just get on one ride vehicle like you would with Mickey and Minnie's. This, you actually walk through a story. And so you can feel like you're a part of it. And one of my favorite stories from a client was when they went on with their daughter, who I think was 6 or 7 at the time. And when they ended and got off the ride, the daughter looked at mom and dad and was just like, did we make it back to Batu? And it was so real. And I mean, it really does feel like that. So when you go on this ride, my pro tip is get immersed in the experience.
And when you walk into the hangar with the stormtroopers, that's the biggest set piece I've ever seen on any ride anywhere.
Yeah, it is fantastic. You do feel like you are in space. Love that ride, though.
And that comes in at number 2 for me.
Oh,
Again,
okay.
Rise of the. We knew that would make it. As soon as that came out, and we've ridden it we've been on it, I guess, multiple times. It's a ride and
We've
an attraction.
experienced it.
We've experienced it, but it's you feel it's. I think probably the most immersive experience in all of Walt Disney World.
Yeah, one of the best stories for sure. Okay, my number 2 is Guardians of the Galaxy. I know, I was waiting for that
What?
reaction.
I was like, what?
If you're on
How is
YouTube,
that-
Rob's like, what?
What?
Now, I do love this ride, and I think that it's fun to know that you're going to get one of 6 different songs. This one has a really cool pre-show, which is kind of fun, and the ride itself it's a great experience. It's something that's a little bit different. It's like, what, the longest indoor roller coaster?
Hey, I think it's the longest indoor roller coaster, if not the world, at least in the country. But
Yeah.
it's fun, and again, it's one of those things where you try to collect all the 6 songs.
Yep. So that one's fun. That one's fun to do more than once, for sure.
This is one of those things where I knew we were going to have a bunch of duplicates, but that's okay.
But this is why you pay for some of these rides.
Guardians of the Galaxy is my number 1, and I'll tell you why. Is it has a really good pre-show. The queue is amazing, but I think you can take any one of our top 3 and rearrange those, and all. It's not like, oh my gosh, I love Guardians so much more than Rise. They're just very different experiences.
Yeah. And we do recommend, if you get the virtual queue and you know you're going to love this ride, also purchase the individual lightning lane. Do both.
Do both. I actually have a Guardians t-shirt. I should have wore it.
Oh, yeah, you should have.
I'll wear it some other time.
All right. So for my number 1, and this one holds strong for me, it is Avatar Flight of Passage.
And we knew those top 3 were going to, kind of jostle around.
So I'll have clients say, what is the best ride? And I always say, well, for me, I love Avatar Flight of Passage. And every time I ride that one, it's amazing to me how I truly feel like I am flying on the back of a Banshee. I love the pre-show.
Sivako.
Yeah. And I love the look of people's faces when they get off that ride for the very first time.
There are some rides like that where you see people, again, if they've done it for the first time, or maybe not even the first time, and you'll see people, especially if they're with a group of friends, they're high-fiving, oh my gosh, that was the best. I like it as well, which is why it was in my top 3.
Yeah, but I would 100% purchase an individual lightning lane for that one if you can. It's worth it. If you do want to do the queue and you loved it so much, then that gives you another opportunity. And so you could do both of those. That's one of the cool things with the individual lightning lanes is you can still go in the standby line.
You can as well. And again,
Just do both.
There are so many other rides. I mean, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, M2R2, that could have made the list.
Yeah, well, and then you have like the coasters. So Expedition Everest, you have Big Thunder Mountain, for the thrill rides.
Everest was actually on my list, and then I added whatever my number 5 was. I forgot. It's my number 5. Anyway.
But you know what? You know what's not on either of ours, though, is Tron. So why didn't you put that on your list?
I will, because that didn't even occur to me.
Really?
I like it, but it's also the shortest. It's probably shorter than Seven Dwarfs.
It is shorter than Seven Dwarfs.
I didn't even think about that. I mean, I like it.
I like it too. It just goes so fast.
It is. I mean, if you
and that's one I would do. I mean, maybe I'd pay for it, but I would always try to get the virtual queue as long as they have that one. And yeah, that's interesting. That did not make either of ours.
It was weird because I didn't even think of. I completely forgot Tron was in Magic Kingdom, and I was thinking, maybe Big Thunder Mountain.
Yeah, that one almost made mine.
Definitely not on my top 10 list. Splash Mountain, because it's gone.
Because that one's gone.
But
okay,
I'd like that ride
so
too.
if you were, and this is totally on, like random.
It's not in the notes because I'm looking at the
notes. What
notes.
is your least favorite ride? Because we've ridden all of them.
I'd almost say I'm just not a fan of Small World. I know it's one of the originals. I'm just not a big fan of it.
Just not a big fan of that one.
Yeah, because you cannot get that. And right now you probably have that song in your head. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I would. You know what? Mine is it's tough. It's I don't like dinosaur, and
You
I
really
don't
put me
like.
on the spot.
I did, and I don't like. It's tough to be a bug.
I like that. I think that's funny.
Okay, I'll always go when we bring new friends and guests to the park, but yeah, not my favorite.
So also for those of you watching on YouTube, if you could do us a favor, and if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. But also down in the comments, tell us a few of your favorite rides. We'd love to see what you guys think.
Yeah, and definitely hop on over to our Instagram and do the same because we will be posting some of our favorite photos from these rides for sure. So I'm excited to hear from you. I hope maybe you got some ideas of why you may or may not want to go and experience one of those attractions. Disney World has so much to offer for all ages. So even if you're like, I don't know if I need to go on Barnstormer, give it a shot. If there's a low wait time, we love Barnstormer. It's like a kiddie coaster.
Every time we bring up these other rides, I'm like, okay, no, that one's the shortest. Because Barnstormer, if you're going to do Barnstormer, do it in the front row.
Yeah, that one's super fun. So next week, we are preparing another show for you, which is going to be something kind of fun and different. And it is a list of what I wish I would have known before my Disney trip. And this is from some of our own experience, from things we hear from our agents, from our clients, to help you plan a good trip, because some of these things you may not be thinking about.
So in the month of April, we challenged our agents to do what we call the 30-30-10 challenge, and that's walk 30 minutes a day for 30 days in a row and read at least 10 minutes of a good business and motivational book, which we did.
And listen to 30 minutes of a business podcast.
Okay, that's true.
That was the 30-30 part.
I thought it was 30 days. So
no, it's 30-30-10.
30-30-30. Either way, so here's your challenge for the month of May, if you want to join us, is walk 30 minutes a day, all 31 days of May. You'll feel better. It's even inspired us. We're eating a little bit healthier. We bought some things that we're going to start building out a little bit of very small personal gym. And it's just that one simple little thing of walking 30 minutes a day.
Yeah. And one of the things that I think will also be great is this is going to help you prepare for your trip to Walt Disney World, because it is very, very possible that you could be walking 20,000 steps or more in one day.
And it's very different from Disneyland, where you can walk between the parks. And I think some people, they kind of assume, okay, I know it's a little bit farther to do that in Walt Disney World, but you really can't. I mean, you can walk between Epcot and Hollywood, and that's about it. But if you're used to Disneyland and just walking across the courtyard to get to the other park, very different down here.
Yeah, so that is our challenge to you, and we will be posting about it on our socials, so feel free to jump in on that challenge. And you know what? Why don't we do some giveaways associated with it?
Sure.
So at the end of May, if you can prove to us that you completed the May challenge of walking 30 minutes a day for 31 days, then we will do a really fun drawing. So we will keep you posted about that on an upcoming episode. What are you doing? You fact checking me here?
No, I'm going to let people know. I use the Under Armour Map My Fitness app. That's how I track my walks. So walk for a while, turned off, and it's like I can store.
Yeah, a lot of the phones have like health trackers.
Yeah, anything that you can
Super easy.
And then and post some pictures on social media. Hey, by the way, today's walk was, I walked 40 minutes, whatever it was. But we just encourage you guys to, weather permitting, get out there and do something.
Yeah, and it's also a great way to break in some of your new shoes you may be bringing down for your vacation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do not try to break in new shoes at a Disney park.
Yes, because we know that summer is here in Florida. The humidity has already started to settle in. And so if you live in a humid climate, don't be afraid to go outside and walk in the humidity and just get used to it.
Yes. So join us on next week's show. Again, we're going to talk about things I wish I knew before I came down to my Disney trip. And some of those will have some summer tips in them.
Yeah. And if we can help you plan your next Walt Disney World vacation and give you more advice personalized to your family on which rides and or dining are best fit for you, please reach out to us or to one of our Creating Magic Vacations travel advisors. Just head on over to creatingmagicvacations.com.
As always, thank you so much for spending your valuable time with us. And until next time, have a magical day.
We hope to see you real soon.